Hello, top of the hour to you. This is yours truly, Matilda Azim, and you are watching my honest observation. Still on the topic, conflict, no problem. Today we will be talking about the last 2 points I would like to mention here as to what you can do, approaches and mediums through which positive conflict can be achieved. 1. Agreeing on facts. 2. Reaching a compromise. So we have established that for us to achieve positive conflict, you must listen to your adversary or seeming adversary. Secondly, there must be communication. You must communicate. Then thirdly, you must be ready and willing to go right back to the root cause of the problem. Yes. Then fourthly, you must agree on facts. You must agree on facts. Agreeing on facts helps you to look beyond sentiments, beyond assumptions, beyond hearsay. Agreeing on fact means you are ready for reality check. At this point, you're saying, I am matured. I'm ready to face the truth. I do not care. I do not care whether I'm the one losing or winning, but I'm ready to face the truth and bring an end to this problem. It frees you from unnecessary confusion because you've come to that point where you say, you know what, I'm going to face the matter right as it is. This is the truth. It does not matter whether I lose or I win. So this way you realize that the conversation focuses more on the real issue rather than attacks, defense, self-defense, and its relatives. Once you have reached that point of agreeing on fact, communication becomes clearer. Everything becomes open. There's bound to be trust. Ideas and concerns will be expressed openly and truthfully. Agreeing on facts means selflessness and willingness to engage in meaningful dialogue with the mindset that it is not all about me or I syndrome, but about the facts, the cocoa. What is the cocoa of the matter? What exactly are we talking about? Probably there's a place or there's a point where I am being misunderstood or I misunderstand this person, because there's every tendency that you're the one that is wrong, but if you allow sentiments or emotion, you will not see the truth. I'm not talking about people who are willingly ready to make trouble. Such people will even know that they are wrong and they will insist on wanting to be accepted or tolerated or allowed. That definitely will lead to negative conflict. So for us to achieve positive conflict, there must be agreement between the two parties to stay true to the real cause of the matter, to stay true to solving the real problem, to stay true to finding the real problem. Agreeing on facts helps take care of emotional outbursts, unproductive arguments. Sometimes you find out that you just argue to no end because the parties involved are failing to look at the real cause, to look at the truth of the matter. That takes us back to the third point, back to base, the root cause. You must ascertain, confirm, verify the information. That is, understand the other person and try to let the other person understand where you're coming from, and then clearly talk about it with an open mind for positive resolution. The last point is what I'll call the win-win standpoint. You must reach a compromise. Sometimes it's difficult to let go of some things, your opinion, your idea, what you thought, but when you've come to that point of agreeing on facts, you will have to find a compromise. Negotiation takes place. You recognize the common ground and build on it. So with these practical steps we have talked about, I am 100% sure that conflict is good when constructively handled. So you can go ahead and have that argument with understanding. I'm not saying that you should go ahead fighting and quarreling. No. All I'm saying is when there is a conflict, when there's misunderstanding, when there's arguments, when quarrel comes, there's no need to run away. There's no need to shy away. There's no need to say or just shout, or just throw tantrums, or just start keeping malice after the fight. No, you can approach the matter differently. You can make something meaningful, something useful, something beautiful out of that conflict. You can build something intangible out of that quarrel. You can build a lasting relationship from that misunderstanding. It is certain that you're going to be at loggerheads with somebody, except you're a yes man person, a footmat for anybody to trample upon and anything. Then, but if you have an opinion, you stand for something, you stand for a cause, you look at things differently and meet people on a daily basis who definitely look at things differently too, you will definitely have one misunderstanding or the other. Don't you let it bother you. Don't you let it move you. Don't shake. No problem at all. All you have to do is apply these simple steps with an open mind. Communicate. Reach out. If they're not reaching out, reach out. Relationship is beautiful. Relationship is wealth. Some people will be tempted to say they are sufficient in themselves, as in, I don't need anybody, I don't care, You need somebody, you need people. Nobody exists without somebody. So do not allow one quarrel or one gossip to make you put an end to what would have become something beautiful. Sometimes things are not the way they appear, because an information coming from Mr. C may be far different from that of Mr. B and that of Mr. A. Mr. A might have passed an information to B, and then when B is coming with the information to C, he or she is passing it with additions or subtractions or misconception, depending on how Mr. B probably perceived that information or understand that information. That is how Mr. B will interpret the information to Mr. C. And Mr. C receiving the information might be receiving something different from Mr. A. Even a situation where Mr. A and Mr. B is directly speaking to one another, if there is no understanding of what one and the other is saying to each other, there will be misconception and there will be problem. I'll give an example of what happened in one of my shows. So I run a show for students where schools will have to bring their students to a venue to see our plays, drama. And one of those experiences, a school left feeling terribly aggrieved, and I never knew. So what happened that day was that the timing didn't work out as planned. So on that fateful day, we were to have 2 stage plays, and before the first show, we had technical issues. There was serious challenge before we could start. So that made us eat into the time of the second show. So I was aware of the fact that we didn't meet the expected time given to the second show viewers, who probably would have been outside waiting for the first show to end for them to now come in and see the play they subscribed for. So of course, being that I was aware of that default, I apologized from the stage. I apologized, pleaded with the students, pleaded with the teachers, pleaded with everybody, apologized sincerely, and I thought that had ended it. Little did I know that a school in particular was terribly aggrieved. So a complete different proposal took me back to the school 4 months after, only for me to be welcomed with attack. Why? Because there were misunderstanding that was not cleared. In fact, it wasn't mentioned. How much more having the opportunity to be addressed. And I was welcomed with attacks, resentment, and outbursts. And I started apologizing again. I'm sorry about the time management for that day. It was my bad. But to my amazement, a particular teacher, who happened to be one of the people that came for the show, was holding on tightly to her point that there is nothing to be sorry about and there's no need to talk. In fact, in her words, it is my belief. I believe what I believe, and there's nothing you can say that can change my belief. And then, in her outburst, she was like, "You people were showing favoritism. I don't want to even listen. Just, I've made up my mind. I don't want to hear anything you have to say." And I was like, "Excuse me, let me even understand what you mean. What do you mean favoritism?" By the way, I'm working with students, which means I'm working with teenagers, children, and I am mindful of their psychological well-being. It's a social gathering, and being that I'm working with underage, I have to be careful of that word, favoritism, sentimental or sentiment, favoritism, sentiments, and the likes. I do not attach any sentiment to my audience. And she was like, "I don't want to hear anything. I don't want to talk about anything. Please just go. We are not coming to your show again." And that point I knew she wasn't ready to listen. In fact, she said it that she believed what she believed, and she's not. I cannot force her to unsee what she had seen. You know, I cannot force her to unsee what she had seen or believe something else different from what she saw. I was trying to calm her down to let her hear me out, but she didn't give room. At that point, I knew she wasn't ready to listen for real, and I got up because I had had it. I got up and I left. It was on my way out that it dawned on me that, oh, it is the snacks we packaged for these XYZ students. A school actually paid for us to organize snacks for them, which we did. And that was not done to other schools because it wasn't part of the arrangement. But that particular school insisted that we must help them handle the refreshments. And I checked the number. I was like, okay, fine, just 100 plus, no problem, we will do it. And that was what she saw, and she concluded that some students were giving refreshments while others were just giving gifts. Whereas that was the plan, to give every student gifts but not refreshments, because each schools were meant to take care of their refreshments, which even they did. But probably as she saw that, she thought that's like a bonus. But hey, in case you are watching me, ma'am, because this is a video and it can go anywhere. The other day I didn't have the opportunity, but this is it. It was a misconception. It was a misconception. If only I had had a chance to speak, this would have been what I would have said, because this is the real situation, which I actually explained to the other teacher that gave me listening ear. So sometimes things are not the way they seem. Things are not the way they look. Sometimes when you see those things, it may appear real, like this is it, you can't tell me. How can you tell me you're not sleeping with him? I saw you coming out of his room and you were even tying a wrapper. It's sometimes not what you saw. I saw you covering the plate. If you're not the one that ate the food, why were you covering the plate? It's not always the same. fair hearing is very important. Fair hearing, communication, going back to base, the root cause, agreeing on facts, having a common ground, and compromise. You don't always feel you can trash anybody easily. Don't always feel you can trash any relationship easily, because you never can tell. The table may turn. That person before you seeking understanding, and you are trashing or pushing aside or trying to justify your grievance or anger or displeasure, whereas you may never have understood or gotten the real fact about the situation. You may end up needing that person. It may not be so, and it may be so. The table can turn, and when we say the table can turn, it is not always in the negative direction. The table can turn on a positive direction. The table can turn on a very positive direction with bright light shining from that direction or to that direction. What would you do? So at this juncture, I would like to submit that conflict is not always bad. As a matter of fact, if constructively handled, can lead to boundless opportunities that you may not even explain right now. Let's build more. Let's seek to be more in unity than divided. There's one belief that always helps me to ignore the unimportant like tantrums, insults, unnecessary side talk, bywords, and all of those negativities in misunderstandings. And that belief is, Matilda, the world doesn't revolve around you. There's nobody in this world that has the sun revolving around him. So we must all be humble, calm, be constructive, be practical, be willing to build than destroy. That can only happen when we are mature enough to see beyond ourselves. Me, I, and myself syndrome. So, I would call it a beautiful time out. Thank you for hanging on to this point. Thank you. Special thanks to everyone that has been watching my video, sharing my video, and commenting. Thank you. God bless you. Cheers.